When we think of bad managers, we often visualize people who are disciplinarians, or maybe the people who are so cold and insensitive who think that the entire world revolves around them. Then there are the people who could care less about their job, and so as a result, they spend their days trying to do the least amount of work possible. And then there are the well-intentioned managers who are just incompetent and as a result are so far removed from the realities of the job. And so as managers, we can easily get caught up in trying to make sure that we're not doing anything that would be so obviously terrible. But here's the thing, you don't have to be a horrible boss to be doing things that could be actually making your team's life more difficult or failing to meet the expectations of the organization. In fact, what I've observed is a lot of the things that are holding people back from being as effective as they want to be as people leaders are often things that are really subtle and easy to miss. That's why in today's video, I'm going to reveal for you 3 habits that a lot of managers don't even realize as a problem until it's too late, how to know if you've fallen into this bad habit trap, as well as a couple of course corrections that you can take to help you break free from these poor habits, no matter how long you've had them. That way you can finally start making an impact in your role and make a difference in the lives of those you lead. All right, so I'm just going to call out the elephant in the room, which is the fact that I'm in a different spot, wearing completely different clothes, all the things. And that's because of the fact when I originally filmed the content, the camera decided to add a lovely black chunk to my content, which we only picked up when my editor, one of my team members, was editing my YouTube video. And so now here I am having to just record that little chunk for you so that you can get the full juice of the content. So here we go. All right, so what were we talking about? We were talking about bad habits and how to ensure that the habits that you have as a manager actually serve you so that you can make some meaningful impact in the lives of those around you. So let's start with this, right? Maybe you're sitting there watching this video and you're thinking to yourself, well, Mac, I'm a brand new manager. I haven't really picked up any bad habits yet. To which I'll say this. Normally the habits that we have as individual contributors usually follow us into our leadership role as managers. For example, let's say that as an individual contributor, you typically changed your mind quite a bit. Maybe it was a little bit annoying for some of your coworkers, but for the most part, the only person that it added a lot of work to was yourself because of the fact that you're the creator, you're the innovator as the individual contributor, and it was really your manager's role or job to make sure that things were done on time and that they were, pushing you forward and keeping you moving. But now that you're a manager and you're tasked with something, maybe that same belief system or way of working comes into your management role in the sense that maybe you do all the research before making a decision or taking an action. And now, well, it's impacting a lot of people because you're the final decision maker or you have the final say on moving something forward. So now as a result of that, your team has even less time to implement the thing that they have to implement. Listen, I get it. Making decisions as a manager is really stressful. In fact, personally for me, I would put it right up there with navigating different personalities. And that's because of the fact that your decisions affect a lot of people and a poor decision can really reflect badly on you as a manager. So I understand why just the whole thing is super, super stressful. So it's only natural that any one of us that cares would want to do our due diligence before making a decision. But I gotta say, if you're the type of person that overthinks your decisions or feels like you always have to collect a heap of information before taking action, then I want you to know that you've moved past the place of wisdom. And that's because of the fact that typically speaking, what I've observed anyways, is when people are trying to collect more and more and more and more information in order to make a choice or in order to take that next action step in their decision, what often happens is they dilute the clarity that they need in order to make a wise decision. In general, when we are making decisions, we are looking for ways to reduce the risk of something going wrong. However, what I have observed in people that tend to overthink their decisions is that they are trying to reduce their risk to zero, which honestly is kind of impossible because you never know. There's so many variables that can pop up out of nowhere. And so instead of trying to reduce your risk to zero, what I'd like to encourage you to do instead is to reframe that. So what you want to do is when you're making a decision, look for ways to bounce back from whatever might potentially happen. So you want to ask yourself, will I be able to rebound? Can my team rebound if we go down this path? pathway. Now, when you look at it from that frame of view, what it does is it allows you to think very differently, right? Because now you're thinking, well, do I have a bounce back plan? No. Okay, well, maybe it's best that I don't go down this path. Or option number 2 is to talk to someone that maybe has a little bit more experience than you in that area, because maybe what they can do is help you come up with a bounce back plan that perhaps you weren't able to think of yourself. But, and this is the other option, if you are willing to accept the risk, then take action. But either way, in either one of those options, you're taking an action, right? One action is saying, my decision is I'm not going to do this. The other action is to seek out the advice of someone that has a little bit more experience. And then of course, the last action is to take action in direction of the decision you want to make. And if you do decide to take the risk, know that because of the fact that you've thought of a plan, you can course correct if it turns out that later down the road, something doesn't go right. So the crux of the matter is this. Know that your senior managers do not expect that you are making 100% of your decisions absolutely correctly, because there is no such thing in life. Come on, let's be real. But what they do expect from you, and this is what I used to tell my managers and supervisors all the time that reported into me, I would always say, my expectation is that you have thought through the decisions that you are making. Don't come to me with a decision that you haven't thought through, that you just made on a whim or out of emotion. Come to me, and even if things fail, let me know, what did you think about beforehand? What risks did you consider? What plan did you have in case something went wrong? Because then I know you're a thinking individual. Then I know you deserve to be in the role because you thought ahead of what could go wrong. While this bad habit of indecisiveness is truly a bad one, I will say that there is another habit that is equally as derailing. And to go through this one, what I want to do is actually zoom out for a moment and share with you an experience that I had when I was training some managers in a nonprofit organization. So with this specific training, what I was actually doing was walking them through what I call my performance journey map. Now, this map is not meant to be prescriptive. It's meant to be utilized as a tool so that managers can engage in performance challenges with team members with clarity, tact, and confidence. So after I went through this journey map with the entire team of managers, one of the managers actually raised his hand and he said, "Oh my goodness, Mag, I finally feel a sense of relief. You know, I had no idea that I can manage performance challenges with such dignity." And he went on to say that he grew up working in an organization that utilized punishment as a tool to get people to do the thing that they wanted them to do. And he said, I always felt kind of out of alignment on that. And so this feels good because it allows me to lead the way that I want to lead while still making sure that I'm getting the outcomes and the results I want to get. Sadly, this is not the first time I've heard something like this where someone doesn't know that jumping straight to punitive action is actually more combative than it is helpful. Now, this can happen for a number of reasons, right? In his specific case, in this manager's specific case, he actually said that this happened because of the environment that he grew up in, right? Observing other managers and how they interact informed the way that he was leading his team. And, you know, in my years of coaching managers now, for a lot of people, it's simply because they are reacting really to frustrations that they're having. In a moment with a team member, they're really frustrated that the person isn't doing something, so they jump straight to, I'm going to write you up. So if that's you and you've fallen into this bad habit of jumping straight to punitive action because, you know, you're frustrated with a team member, or because you fear being seen as weak, or because you lack the coaching capacity to help this person through this performance issue, then I want you to know that jumping to punitive action is not serving you. In fact, it's doing more harm than good, because oftentimes when we do this, when we jump straight to that place of punishment, we are creating an environment of fear with our team members. We're creating an environment which hampers people from admitting their mistakes and actually doing better. Now, I'm not talking about accountability. I'm talking about if someone's failing to meet your expectations and you jump straight to, I'm gonna write you up, that is problematic. So instead, when a team member is failing to meet your expectations, what I want you to do is focus your intention on coaching that person. Outline a couple of key objectives and outcomes that you need them to reach, and then work towards expanding their skills and capacity in order to achieve the thing you want them to achieve. Oh yes, coaching takes time. And the quicker way through that challenge is to write somebody up. That write-up, y'all, and that approach is so costly. And besides, is that really what you want to be known for anyways? So invest your time into spinning that person up to the expectation line that you have for them. Now, coaching is a time investment, like I said, and so it can be pretty hard for you to sit down and actually coach someone if you are too busy to coach them, which brings me to habit number 3. Have you ever asked somebody, hey, how are you doing? And their response to you is, good, I'm just so busy. You know, I hear this response all the time. And if I'm being honest, I have said or responded this way quite a bit myself, though I am getting getting better at this because I'm trying to just be a little bit more aware with my responses. But I think this happens because as a society, we tend to equate busy with value, meaning the more I do or the busier I am, the more valuable I am. And the truth is that the busier you are, the more chances you have of burning yourself out and rendering yourself useless to do anything at all. When I am going through a season of being very busy, I actually start to get a little nervous and scared. And that's because I know within myself that somewhere around me, balls are getting dropped. I'm forgetting key pieces. I'm not making the decisions that I most likely would have made because I'm not operating at my very best. I just know that to be the case. To be clear, I'm not talking about seasons of busy where, things just line up and you end up in this period of being really busy. I'm talking about if every single day you are operating at this max capacity level where you're on like just the verge of burnout, that is not healthy. It's just straight up not okay. And you're not operating at your best or getting the most out of your day. So I just don't think that's good. So if, as I was kind of describing that, you're going, you know what, maybe that's me where I'm consistently on that edge of burnout, then I want you to stop wearing busy as a badge of honor. And instead, what I want you to do is wear intentionality as your badge of honor, right? So that means that you start your day very intentionally by defining what a successful day for you looks like. What does success look like for that day? And then very intentionally set aside chunks of time in your calendar so that you can achieve that outcome that you've defined. I promise you that this small tweak will serve you immediately because what you'll be doing is filling up your day with the things that matter instead of filling up your day with inconsequential things that actually take up all your time and don't move you forward. It's not helpful. Your habits make up who you are. And you are watching this video today because you want to become a better manager. So let's make sure that the habits you have are actually serving you in becoming that better manager. Now, there are a couple of things that I have observed that will hold a manager back from truly being impactful in their role as a leader. And that is usually steeped in the way that they approach their day, which is usually in reactivity. And so if you want to get off the hamster wheel of reactivity, then I want to encourage you to watch this video next.